Sure, I'm glad to have that box and cab painted because that means we finally turned the corner on this build and we're starting to put her back together instead of taking this old truck apart. What I'd like to do this week is get them rear fenders on. I'd like to get the dash back in it. But before we put the dash in, I'm kind of wondering if maybe we shouldn't mount our fuse box first. That way we don't have to crawl underneath the dash to do anything like that. We still have a lot of grinding, a little bit of welding to do on the running boards, the front fenders, and the hood. So if we get decent weather this week, we'll tackle some of that. But I'm not going to get anything done by sitting here talking, so let's get to it. Today we're going to talk about fender welting. This is the material that used to go between the bolt-on fenders of old classic cars and trucks. They used to put this in there to keep water and dirt out. This is a leather pleather type of material, just so you know what you're buying. You can get this in colors, by the way. Relatively inexpensive, like 20 bucks. They said there's enough to do all 4 fenders, so you really can't beat that. Also, the gaskets that go between the parking light, blinker light bezel, and the gaskets that go between the fender and the headlight bezel. I got all of this for under 40 bucks, but the kicker is they're going to charge you almost $20 for shipping. So you're going to be into this right here for about 60 bucks. I mean, depending on the kind of build you're doing, you may or may want to spend that money. Back in the day, we used to use old bicycle tire inner tube, cut that up. That worked just as well. The only difference is you're not going to have this nice little bead sticking out between the fender and your box or your cab. That's the only difference. But if you're just doing it to keep water and dirt out of that crack, then bicycle inner tube will work for you. Well, it was a little bit of a pain to get on, but I kind of like it. Kind of gives it a finished look, I guess. Like I said, I've done a few trucks, but I've never used a fender welting. Looks pretty good. I think we'll stick with it. All right, there it is. Got the fender welting on. Looks pretty good, I think. Kind of finishes it off. I'm thinking maybe we start working on these running boards. There's a few spots I need to get welded on them, ground down. But yeah, I think we're moving along pretty good. So let me grab the welder and we'll start working on these running boards. That's these running boards, but you can see these things are in really rough shape. They pieced them together here. Didn't do too bad of a job lining these up, but this other side, it's pretty bad. You can see how off that is, and they're just not in very good condition. This one was actually an inch shorter than that one, so I had to add a piece of metal to that. I think we're gonna have to get a little creative on this. Don't want to spend the money on new running boards. I want to get drop spindles for the front of it. I want to do new tie rod ends and all that stuff. So I'd rather put the money into the front end. I think we're just going to do something creative with those and make those work. Alright guys, so I told you we have to come up with a solution to this problem. And really what the problem was when we put these two pieces together, this side, the ribs lined up pretty much. This side was off like about 3/8 of an inch. Rather than having me cut this and try to realign it all, what I decided to do is we got some reinforced filler, ground this all down, and we're gonna, from the back half of this weld, we're gonna make this all smooth, and then we'll just keep the ribs on the front half. So that's my solution. I think it's gonna look pretty decent once it's all smoothed out and it's all painted. But other than buying a new set of running boards, which I really don't want to do, don't want to put the money into it, we're going to do this for now. I think it'll work out just fine. We're going to get this started by mounting this bracket to the firewall, and then our fuse box will bolt into that. What's nice about the painless wiring, and I'm sure with other wiring harnesses as well, but I've always used painless. I like this product. It tells you exactly where the wires will go. Like this is marked engine section, so these are going to go through this grommet and right out onto the firewall. It's got one marked tail section, so this is going to get routed to the back of the truck, and then this would be for the inside under the dash, inside the cab actually. So it's pretty simple. I mean, if you have a little bit of electrical knowledge, you really don't need much. It's pretty simple. Every wire is labeled to exactly where it goes, so you know. And the book, this book tells you exactly step by step how to do it. So this is a great product. This is customizable wiring harness. You can get them specific for vehicles, but this one is the 21 circuit customizable, and is less than $300. So I mean, I don't know how you can go wrong. So let's do it, man. We got a fuse box mounted. We got our wire separated into the dash instrument panel, and that will be the ignition part of it with the radio and whatnot. Got our wires all bundled up here. We got our wires bundled down there. I just got to run them to the back of the truck, and that's pretty much it. Really, it's simple, very simple. Like I said, every wire is labeled to exactly where it goes, so it should be a piece of cake. All right, what I think I'm going to do now is I'm going to get that wire for the tail section run in the frame rails. I'm going to use this, bought some of this cheap plastic wire loom. The Harbor Freight was only a couple bucks. I'm going to use that underneath on the chassis. We use this good. I got some good cloth wire loom that we'll use underneath the hood. Look a little bit better. So let's get doing that, huh? Alright, so we got our wires run to the back of the truck, inside of the wire loom. Pulled out, that pink one is for the sending unit for the gas tank. So we're ready to put our gas tank back in. It'll be grounded by the chassis. To give you plenty of wire to run any which way you want. Again, on the front here, plenty of wire to run any which way you need to run. And you'll have a lot left over, I'm sure. At least on a vehicle like this, you will. Alright, let's check our progress so far this week. We got our fenders on. Put our fender welting in there. We got our fuse block in. We got all our wires run to where they need to be in the vehicle. We started working on our running boards. Still got quite a bit of work to do on them. We still have to run wiring for our overhead console. So we should probably get them running there today just to get this all roughed in. Got a few parts that can be installed as well. Wiper motor can go in. Dimmer switch, speedometer cable. It's all a little miscellaneous stuff, but it's all stuff that's got to go in. We got our gas tank back in. One less thing to do. So, but I do want to run the wires for the console first. So I think that's what we're going to start with this. Wires for the console. Alright, so we got our wires run for our radio harness, to the speakers on the side of the doors. I know I said I wanted to throw the dash in, but I think maybe we should probably wait on that until this gets painted. I got a coat of primer on it now, but we got a little bit more work to do on it. Probably should get this painted, get it in place. So in case anything happens, I don't want to drop it on the dash. So that might take us into next week. Getting the headliner in, getting this mounted permanently. We still got to put the wiper motor in first though. Get the inside of the cab insulated and get the headliner in. But I wanted to make sure we had all the wires run. Still want to put some cab lights in here. I wanted to put like a dome light in here, but you know, I really don't want to cut into this now. Next week I want to work on the transmission. I want to get that done before we put the floor pans in permanently again. Get the cab insulated, get the headliner in it, start to button it up. Also next week, possibly get the tail lights in, mounted in the fenders. We still have to do something for parking lights back here. I don't want anything modern looking. Get the light for the license plate mounted in there. Maybe finalize the wiring back here. Work our way forward. There really isn't much going on back here as far as wiring goes. Get hooked up our sending unit. Then we can get the dash in here and finalize cab. Maybe after that, put some new front end parts on. New rotors and pads, tie rod ends. I want to put some drop spindles on the front of this. We got to keep working on those running boards. We got to get the front fenders on the work table yet. Get them ground down and body worked. And then we got to tackle that hood. That's going to be a little bit of a project, I think. There's still a ton of body work to do, so we're going to keep plugging away. Till next week, take it easy, man.